This video has been provided by the Braniff Training Department to familiarize you with the important aspect of the BAC One-11 aircraft. In the course of this program, we will tour both the inside and the outside of the BAC and demonstrate the many ground handling procedures used to work this airplane. We will also review important safety considerations which you must keep in mind while working the BAC. The BAC One-11 was developed and built in the early 1960s by the British Aircraft Corporation. Its first extensive use in the United States was by Braniff International, which took its first deliveries in 1965. Interesting to note that many of the BACs in the current Braniff fleet are the same aircraft used by Braniff in the mid-1960s. BACs have been built in three major versions: the 200 and 400, which have the same dimensions, and a stretched version designated the 500 has also been produced. Today, the only 111s being built new are being built under a licensing agreement in Yugoslavia. The BAC One-11 is a smaller twin-engine jet aircraft designated for medium-range use, generally up to 700 miles. As currently configured, Braniff aircraft will seat from 78 to 86 passengers in a single-class cabin. The maximum gross weight of the BAC are from 79,000 pounds to 89,000 pounds at takeoff. Marshalling the BAC One-11 into the gate is accomplished using standard hand signals. Because the wings of the BAC are so close to the ground, it is especially important that wing walkers be used to clear a path of the wingtips as the aircraft taxis in. The wing walker is responsible for guaranteeing adequate clearance and signaling the marshaller. The marshaller is responsible for observing hand signals of the wing walker and issuing a stop command to the pilot if so instructed by the wing walker. The blocker places chocks or blocks fore and aft of the nose gear and one main gear when so directed by the marshaller. The pilot is required to hold the brakes until signaled by the marshaller that the chocks are in place. However, the marshaller should remain inside of the captain until after the chocks in signal has been given and acknowledged. All agents are required to be familiar with and understand the hand signals used on the ramp that are illustrated on page 8 of the BAC One-11 Familiarization Study Guide. It is important that you are able to recognize the location of all access ports on the aircraft, since as ramp agent, you will be the last one to see the aircraft before its departure. A ramp agent walk-around is performed for each aircraft independent of the flight crew walk-around. That is to ensure that maintenance or other personnel have secured all doors. We will begin our walk-around tour on the outside of the aircraft. Pedostatic tubes. These tell the pilot his airspeed. These tubes can be heated to prevent the formation of ice. Never touch these tubes with your hands, as they could be hot and cause severe burns. Other equipment must be kept away, as the tubes are fragile and could be easily damaged. Potable water inlet. This is the connection for filling passenger drinking water into the aircraft. It is located on the right-hand side of the fuselage, just forward of the nose gear area. Forward cargo bin door. It's located on the right side of the fuselage in front of the wing. Opening the baggage bins must be done carefully to avoid damaging the aircraft. To open the bin, pull out on the handle, twist to unlock, push on the top of the door to release, and gently lower the door by the handle until the locking catch has stopped the door. Warning: allowing the bin door to fall under its own weight can cause the door to fall off the aircraft. This could cause personal injury to the person nearest the door and will result in a delay while the mechanics repair it. The light switch is a toggle switch located inside the bin at the top right corner of the door opening. Fueling control panel contains controls for single-point fueling. It is located on the right side of the fuselage between the forward cargo bin door and the point where the right wing attaches to the fuselage. It contains gauges and switches used for fueling of the aircraft. Fuel cap. This covers the fueling connection. It is located just aft of the forward control panel, very near where the right wing attaches to the fuselage. Immediately aft of the fuel cap is a communications interface. This allows the fueler to communicate with the cockpit while fueling. The fuel cap is normally painted red, which makes it readily identifiable and must be in place before the aircraft is allowed to depart. In the same area is a grounding jack, which must be used by the fueler every time the aircraft is being fueled. Mag sticks. Mag sticks, or drip sticks as they can be called, are fuel level indicators which twist lock into place. There are 4 mag sticks under each wing. These can be used to measure the amount of fuel on board an aircraft with an inoperative fuel gauge. Wing leading edge. Check for any dents, tears, or seeping fluids. There are fuel tank vents located at each wingtip. These allow air pressure to equalize inside and outside the fuel tanks. Never park any kind of cargo or equipment under the wingtips, as vaporous fuel is escaping during fueling. Wing trailing edge. These areas contain ailerons and flaps. Rear cargo bin door. The same operation and safety guidelines apply to the rear cargo bin door as to the front cargo bin door. Rear lavatory service panel. Provides access to rear lavatory servicing. It's located on the right side of the fuselage, just below the number 2 engine. To service, connect the waste discharge hose from the lavatory service truck, pull the discharge handle to open valve in the holding tank, close the valve, remove discharge hose, fill reservoir with 5 gallons of de-germ water mixture, and close the access panel door. Air start access panel. Used to connect air start hose for starting the engine when the APU is inoperative for air. It is located on the bottom surface of the fin between the fuselage and the number 2 engine. Auxiliary Power Unit, APU, Fire Control Panel. It contains external controls for shutting off the APU and engaging internal APU fire extinguishers. Rear empennage. Location of horizontal stabilizer, rudder, APU, and communications static discharge wicks. Rear stair release lever. This releases the rear stair well when pulled. Not all Braniff BAC One-11s have rear stairs, and on the models that are equipped with the rear stairs, we would not use them except in the rare case of an emergency. The lever is located on the left rear underside of the fuselage under the number 1 engine area. When the handle is pulled, the stairs free fall to the ground. Air conditioner external connection. Used for air conditioning in the aircraft when the APU is inoperative. It is located on the left side of the fuselage near the point where the leading edge of the left wing attaches to the fuselage. Static air ports. Provide outside air pressure information to the cockpit instruments. Forward lavatory servicing port. Access point for forward lavatory servicing of 400 series aircraft. Inoperative on 200 series aircraft. When used, the forward lav is serviced the same as the rear lavatory, located on the left side of the fuselage, just aft of the forward passenger entry door. Ground power receptacle. Located on the left side of the fuselage, just forward of the nose gear area and under the captain's window. This is the connection point for AC current to the aircraft. Cockpit crew must be on board for external power connection or disconnection. Electrical bay access door. Access to DC power for APU starts, oxygen service, and hydraulic service. It's located under the nose of the aircraft, forward of the nose gear. This door must be in place before the aircraft departs. Communications interface. Connection point for ramped cockpit communication. It's located on the left side of the fuselage, just aft of the nose cone and below the captain's window. Radome connectors. The radome covers the front-mounted radar antenna. Nose gear access doors. Prior to pushback, the gear pin must be installed. Installation is done through the access panel on the nose gear doors. Be sure the doors are left open anytime the gear pin is installed and closed anytime the gear pin is not installed. Tires and landing gear struts and doors should appear in good operating condition. Should you notice anything at all that seems damaged, do not hesitate to bring it to the supervisor's attention. Cabin doors. The forward passenger entry door and the galley service door can be opened and closed from either inside or outside the aircraft. It is company policy for the flight attendant to open and close the passenger entry door anytime there is a flight attendant on board. Do not position steps or jetways in the path of the door. When the door needs to be opened from the outside, it can be accomplished in this order. First, position the stairs or the jetway, whichever is being used, slightly below the door bottom, stopping approximately 1 foot from the aircraft. Remove the door handle from its recessed area and rotate to release the door from its latch fittings. The stair unit can then be moved back approximately 3 feet from the aircraft. The door is pulled out of its opening and slides forward along the nose of the aircraft until it locks in place against the fuselage. If steps are being used, they can now be positioned against the fuselage at the door opening and level with the aircraft floor. Jetways that do not have the cutouts for the aircraft door must remain away from the aircraft so as not to come in contact with the door. With either the stairs or the jetway, a bridge will be used for the passengers. Care must be taken to ensure that no damage occurs to the aircraft door or to the pitot tubes, which are located just forward of the door in its open position. To close the door, release the hinge lock and reverse the opening procedures. Preparing for departure. At airports where the aircraft is to be pushed back off the gate, certain procedures need to be carefully followed. First, the gear pin must be installed. A gear pin is a tool that attaches to the nose gear strut to prevent it from retracting while the aircraft is on the ground. To install this pin, you must open the nose gear bay access doors and reach up inside the bay with the gear pin. There are 2 holes in the gear pin, and each of these fits a post on the gear strut. To attach the pin to the strut, place the end of the gear pin over the top post. Pull on the gear pin handle and slide the bottom opening over the lower post. Push the pin towards the rear of the gear bay and make sure the handle snaps closed so that the pin is locked into the strut. Once the gear pin is in place, place the end of the tow bar in position on the push pin. Activate the locking mechanism on the tow bar and shake the tow bar a little to ensure a positive lock. A crew member must be in his seat to connect the tow bar to the tug. Indicate to the pilot that you want him to set the brakes. When he indicates that the brakes are set, slowly drive the tug into position and attach it securely to the free end of the tow bar. On each 400 series aircraft, disconnect the torque link by sitting behind the nose gear and pulling outwards on the link connectors and separating the upper and lower linkage pieces. Walk around. Before pushing an aircraft off the gate or marshalling him off the gate, a walk-around must be performed to ensure that all access ports are secure. If you see an access port that you cannot reach to secure, notify your station operation agent before releasing the flight off the gate. The only access ports that may be open when pushing an aircraft are the forward communications port and the nose gear access doors. Make sure all other access doors are secure. Use the following checklist. Pitot tubes. Check for obstructions or damage. Do not try to clear obstructions. Report them. Potable water inlet. Make sure latches are secure. Forward cargo bin door. Push hard on top of door to ensure that it is secure. Fueling control panel. Make sure latches are secure. Fuel cap. Tap on it to make sure it is secure. Immediately aft of the fuel cap is a communications interface. Be sure its cover is secure. Mag sticks. Make sure all mag sticks or sump drains are secure. Wing leading edge. Check for any dents, tears, or seeping fluids. Fuel tank vent. Check for any obstructions or leaking fuel. Do not try to clear obstructions. Report them. Wing trailing edge. Check ailerons and flaps for any apparent loose fittings or damage. Rear cargo bin door. Push hard on the top of the door to ensure that it is secure. Rear lavatory service port. Access panel to rear lav servicing. Check for seeping fluids and that latches are secure. Engine cowling latch assembly. Check to make sure latches are secure on all engine access ports. Air start connection access panel. Make sure latches are secure. APU fire control panel. Make sure latches are secure. Rear empennage. Look up for damage to any of the static discharge wicks on the T-tail trailing edge. Inspect tail section for any seeping fluids. Rear stair release lever. Make sure stairs are fully retracted and lever is pushed in. Engine cowling. Make sure all engine access ports and cowls are closed and latched. Air conditioner external connection. Make sure latches are secure. Static air ports. Check for obstructions. Once again, do not try to clear obstructions. Report them. Forward lavatory service port. Inspect for seeping fluids. Make sure latches are secure. Ground power receptacle. Make sure latches are secure. Electrical bay access door. Make sure door is in place and latch is secure. Communications interface. Make sure latch is secure unless communication is desired during pushback. Door must be latched prior to marshaller's send-off salute. Radome connectors. Make sure the latches are secure. Pushback. The tug operator must have an indication from the flight deck that the brakes are off and they are ready to be pushed. Once the brakes are released, the operator must look at his wing walkers for clearance. A continuous thumbs-up signal tells the driver that the ramp behind the aircraft is clear and that there is adequate wingtip clearance. The tug driver will continue pushing until adequate clearance is gained for the aircraft to taxi under its own power. Any signal other than thumbs up will indicate that a possible hazard exists and that the pushback must be stopped. The nose gear must be facing straight forward before ending the pushback. Incidentally, when the hydraulic system actuates, the nose gear automatically centers regardless of what is attached to it. Tow bar removal. The tug operator must receive a brakes set signal from the flight deck before the ramp agent removes the tow bar. When the signal is received, the operator will signal to the agent. On the 400 series aircraft, detach the tow bar first from the tug, then reconnect the torque links. If they do not realign easily, the tow bar may be gently rocked from side to side to help line it up. Then remove the tow bar from the aircraft. When the tow bar is reconnected to the tug, the agent next must remove the gear pin. Gear pin removal. If the flight is departing a station where no pushback is required, the marshaller would ask the flight crew to set the brakes before removing the gear pin. The agent removing the gear pin must reach up into the nose gear bay, pull down and forward on the gear pin handle, and remove the gear pin. Placing the gear pin on the ground, he must next push in on the access door latches, close both doors together, and release the latches, securing the doors. The pin should be taken to the tug operator or to the marshaller, where either agent must hold up the pin for confirmation by the flight crew that the gear pin has indeed been removed. The aircraft may not be cleared to taxi until the pilot indicates that he sees the gear pin. Never assume that it has been seen. You will receive a clear signal from the captain, and only then can you stow the gear pin and dispatch the flight. Emergency exits. There are a total of 6 emergency exit locations on most of Braniff's BAC One-11s. The aircraft that are equipped with rear stairs will have 7. The exits are the 2 side cockpit windows, one on each side of the cockpit, the main passenger entry door located on the forward left side of the fuselage, the galley service door located on the forward right side of the fuselage, and 2 overwing exits, one over each wing. Fire extinguishers must be visible and accessible to ramp personnel at all times. Check with your supervisor for ramp locations at your particular station. Cabin emergency equipment. Anytime passengers are on board the aircraft, a flight attendant must be present. They would direct passengers and use the emergency equipment. Agents cleaning the aircraft at night or on board originator or terminating aircraft should be conscious of hazards and of the emergency equipment at their disposal. Fire extinguishers are located at the front and back of the cabin. Halon extinguishers are above row 1 and in the cabin rear. A water extinguisher is located by the passenger entry door. A CO2 extinguisher is located behind the captain's seat, that's the one on the left, in the cockpit. Halon and CO2 may be used on most fires, including electrical fires. Water must only be used on paper or fabric fires. Emergency equipment. The aircraft you work around are usually running, even while being fueled. When the main engines are not running, the auxiliary power unit is running. Obviously, with so much fuel being carried aboard the aircraft, a dangerous situation could occur. Each aircraft has safety devices that protect not only the passengers on board, but also the ground personnel working around it. Ramp emergency equipment. The main engines may be operated only while the crew occupies the cockpit. Therefore, an engine malfunction would be immediately addressed by the flight crew. The APU, however, may operate without crew members on board, so it is important to be familiar with the emergency procedures should an APU fire occur. The APU fire protection panel is located on the right side of the fuselage, below the aft end of the right engine. If you believe a possible APU emergency exists, contact your supervisor. Open the APU panel and look for the red warning light. If this light indicates an APU fire, do the following. Place the shutdown switch to fire. Wait 10 seconds. If warning light is still on, move fire bottle switch to extinguish. Have the cockpit crew turn the APU control switch off in the cockpit. Cockpit air delivery and cross-feed valve switches to close. This study guide was designed to acquaint you with the BAC One-11 aircraft. Obviously, no book alone can teach you all of the aspects of your job in servicing an aircraft, so it is expected that you will use this as an aid to training under supervision. It is essential that you know what you are doing before attempting to work an aircraft without direct supervision. If you have any questions at all, remember, always ask.